That night in Argentina looked like something straight out of a movie. The kind of scene that doesn't just happen. It builds, it brews, it boils over until it becomes legend. The streets around Buenos Aires were alive, like they had a pulse of their own. You could feel it in your chest, that thump of excitement, that electric rush in the air before something big goes down. People weren't just showing up to see a concert, they were showing up to witness history. Kendrick Lamar had touched down in Argentina, and the entire country felt it. By the time the gates opened, the energy was wild. The fans outside the stadium weren't just waiting. They were chanting his lyrics, jumping, crying, screaming his name like he was a prophet returning home. It wasn't just about music anymore. It was about emotion, identity, and a connection that felt spiritual. People from every corner of Argentina had made the trip, some even sleeping on the streets the night before just to get a spot close to the stage. You could see flags waving in the crowd, Argentina's blue and white mixing with Compton hats and Good Kid, Mad City shirts. It was more than a concert. It was a cultural collision. When the lights finally dimmed, that place went silent for half a second, just long enough for everyone's heart to sync up before the eruption. Then boom, the stage lit up red. Smoke poured across the ground, and the beat to DNA dropped like thunder. The sound hit so hard, it felt like the whole stadium shook. Kendrick walked out slow, calm, chest up, eyes focused like he owned the night. And in that moment he did. He didn't need to say a word. Just his presence alone sent the crowd into chaos. You could see it on their faces. People were crying, shouting, losing their voices, living inside the moment. Kendrick moved like a man who knew the power he held. Every step, every gesture, every pause in his verse hit like punctuation. The crowd knew every lyric word for word, screaming them back with raw emotion. It didn't matter if English wasn't everyone's first language. Kendrick's energy translated perfectly. His voice carried stories of pain, triumph, and truth, and the audience felt every piece of it. You could see people holding their hearts, eyes closed, mouthing the lyrics like a prayer. But there was a point during the night where things took a different turn. Midway through his set, after running through Alright, Element, and Loyalty, the lights went out completely. Total darkness. The crowd froze. For a moment, nobody knew what was happening. You could feel the confusion shift into suspense. Then a single spotlight came on, revealing Kendrick sitting on a stool, head bowed. The band went silent. No beat, no sound, just him and a mic. When he looked up, his voice broke the silence. He started talking about struggle, about fear, about the weight of the world, and what it means to stand tall through it all. His words weren't rehearsed. They came from a real place. He told the crowd how music saved him, how it gave him purpose when everything around him tried to break him. And in that raw, quiet moment, Argentina wasn't just a crowd anymore. It was part of his story. The stadium listened like a church congregation, hanging on to every word. Then he said, "I came all the way here because I believe energy is real. Y'all energy, right now, it's pure. It's love. It's power." And just like that, the lights exploded back on, and the intro to Humble hit. The crowd lost it. People jumped so hard the cameras in the stands were shaking. Security guards were dancing. Fans were climbing on shoulders, and the floor looked like a living ocean moving in waves. You could see fans crying as Kendrick spit every line, hitting the stage with passion that didn't feel like performance. It felt like release. The lights turned red and gold. The smoke swirled around him like fire, and he rapped with that same hunger he had back when he first dropped Section .80. Argentina wasn't just watching, they were feeding off his energy, giving it back 10 times stronger. At one point, he stopped mid-performance and looked out into the sea of faces. He just smiled, shook his head, and said, I ain't never felt nothing like this." The crowd responded with a chant, "Kendrick! Kendrick!" echoing over and over until it felt like the whole city could hear it. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't planned. It was real. That chant became the heartbeat of the night. But the wildest part came near the end, just as he was about to perform Not Like Us. The beat dropped and the crowd exploded. But halfway through the first verse, Kendrick stopped. He lifted his hand, signaling the DJ to cut the music. The stadium fell silent again. You could hear the wind. You could hear people breathing. Then Kendrick leaned into the mic and said, "I don't even need the beat. Y'all know it already." And without missing a beat, the entire crowd, tens of thousands of voices, started rapping every line word for word, perfectly in sync. No hesitation. It was like one giant choir shouting the anthem together. Kendrick just stood there, smiling, letting the crowd take over. The power in that moment was unreal. It didn't even feel like a concert anymore. It felt like unity. You could see it in his face. He was moved. This was the kind of connection that artists dream about. When he finally took the mic back, he said, "Argentina, y'all different. I love y'all for life." The crowd roared so loud, you couldn't hear the instruments anymore. He finished Not Like Us with extra energy, stomping the stage like he was releasing every ounce of power left in him. When it ended, there was no music, no fireworks, just Kendrick standing there, drenched in sweat, breathing heavy, staring out at the crowd. He put his hand over his heart and nodded. The crowd chanted his name one last time as he walked off stage slowly, disappearing into the smoke. It was cinematic. It was emotional. It was one of those nights that people will talk about for years. Outside the stadium, fans were still singing, still chanting. Some didn't even leave. They stayed out front, just replaying the moment. Videos started going viral before the show even ended. Clips of fans crying, whole sections of the crowd moving in perfect rhythm. People calling it the night Kendrick owned Argentina. Even local news picked it up, saying the concert brought together people from all walks of life, breaking cultural lines and language barriers. The next morning, social media was flooded with posts, fans describing it as spiritual, life-changing, and unreal. One tweet said, "Kendrick didn't just perform. He baptized the crowd in energy." Another said, "It felt like he was speaking directly to us." Even artists from Argentina gave props, calling it one of the greatest shows the country had ever seen. And honestly, they weren't lying. What Kendrick did that night wasn't just about rap. It was about connection, about breaking walls between artist and audience, about turning a foreign stage into a second home. The way he adapted to the crowd, the way he made the moment feel personal, it showed why he's one of one. By the time the tour moved on, Argentina was still buzzing. Street vendors were selling shirts with his face on them. Murals started popping up in Buenos Aires with "We gon' be alright" painted in Spanish underneath. That night had become a part of the city's heartbeat. It wasn't just another stop on the tour. It was a cultural stamp. Kendrick Lamar in Argentina didn't just look like something out of a movie. It felt like one. It had everything: tension, emotion, chaos, beauty, and that real human connection you can't fake. When he left, it felt like the end of a story that no one wanted to stop reading. And for the fans who were there, it wasn't just a concert they attended. It was a night they'll carry with them forever. Because when Kendrick touched that stage in Argentina, he didn't just perform. He left a piece of his soul behind. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.